Okay, and sorry about that interruption. That was my sister, and she is currently overseas, and so I wanted to talk to her. But anyway, where were we? We were talking about the solutions to air pollution, and as far as technology is concerned, you have electrostatic precipitators, which exploit the electrical charges of some of the particulates that are in air and remove them that way. You know, opposites attract, so negative goes to positive, positive to negative. And as you see in the graphic, that the air that leaves that is then clean of those particulates. And then what's in cars, or at least most cars, are catalytic converters. They are technological structures where the gases that are produced in the combustion of fuel, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, hydrocarbons, are then converted within the catalytic converter into less harmful gases like carbon dioxide and water, and then that's what is released into the air directly, and not the carbon monoxide, the nitrogen oxides, or the hydrocarbons. So this is a great. Both of these pieces of technology contribute greatly to our having cleaner air. Now, other solutions, and again, there isn't just one. You have laws and legislations, you have technology as a part of the solution, but a big piece of this is not, or to find ways to not produce pollutants to begin with, what we refer to as source reduction. And so we can individually take stewardship, personal responsibility for not contributing to the production of pollutants. For instance, walking somewhere, bicycling someplace, taking public transportation, not using our cars as much, as far as reducing the amount of pollution that our cars produce. But we can also see this on a large scale. Societies, cultures that implement these types of endeavors into their everyday lives. We don't have a very good mass transit system in our country, and you might, this sounds really pretentious, but you might think it's pretty okay. But when you travel to other countries, like countries in Europe, for instance, they just have, and Asia, they have just such a almost flawless, efficient mass transit system. You can get anywhere from anywhere using mass transit, where that isn't the case here. But it certainly reduces the sources of pollution. And also, we more and more, not as much in this country as other countries, are investing in those types of energy which does not involve the combustion of fossil fuels. And so therefore, the problems that are the result of the combustion of fossil fuels, the pollution that is involved in the formation of these energies is curbed greatly by using wind, geothermal, solar, hydropower, as far as, they're contributing to the reduction of the sources of these types of pollutants. So have we been successful? And as I said in the beginning of the first part of this, absolutely. Holy smokes, go us. We've been awesome at this. And these graphs, these are the latest graphs I could find. They're slightly dated, but they still hold true. I think 2012 is the one on the top. And that, if you look at the one on the bottom, what you're seeing in blue is you see that in the US, and this is applicable to the United States, both of these graphs. We've increased our population, we've increased our energy consumption, we've increased how many miles our vehicles are traveling and our GDP, but we've also decreased our emissions at the same time. So that is really impressive. That despite all of these increases in population and energy consumption, that we've been able to decrease our emissions significantly. And if you look at the top graph, you see in the darker rust color, the darker orange is where those emissions were, or the pollutants in the 1970s. And then in the lighter orange, you see, at least in 2012, you see the percent change, and they've all decreased, as you can see. Carbon monoxide decreased by 73%. PB, all the way to the right, is lead. We've decreased the amount of lead in our atmosphere by 99%. NOx, VOx, and SOx, 58%, 60%, 83%, respectively. And our particulate matters, the PM10, we've decreased the amount of particulate matters in our air by 85%. That is totally awesome. I mean, wow. See, we can do this. This is possible if we have the laws and legislation, if we have the technology, and if we have the sense of stewardship in regards to source reduction. Now, it's a bit of a cautionary tale, because I will say that over the past few years, unfortunately, there are those legislators who see this, that, hey, look, all of this technology and all these laws have been successful. We've reduced our air pollution by so much that they see this as a signal, a reason to roll back these laws and this legislation that has been so successful as far as implementing the technologies, etc. And that, unfortunately, some people see this as, oh, the logical thing to do. And we have had weakening of some of our laws that govern pollution in air since they see that this has been so successful. And what, those of us who are critical thinkers, who are actually educated about how this all works, we're saying, oh, no, the reason this has been so successful is because we continue to enforce these laws and have this legislation. We need to keep up the good fight, or we need to continue down this road. But not always is that then gets translated into what happens here in our government, in our country. So we have to keep, we can't rest on our laurels. We have to continue making sure that we keep our air clean. I'm not going to go through this too much here, because this is a learning activity that you do for this week, but suffice to say, just as a summary, is that, we're so used to having individual bottles of water, like for individual drinking purposes. And, back in the early 1980s, late 70s, early 80s, this was seen as a joke, and I have up there in the Golden Girls, the popular sitcom in the 80s, they actually had an entire episode that revolved around them making money off of putting water from their hose into water bottles and selling it for a profit. And it was just seen as such a ridiculous idea that this would make money, that it was and they said, oh, people can't be that stupid, but we're going to get rich. And, ha ha ha. It was the topic of that episode of the sitcom. And here we are, how many years later, and now this is a billion-dollar industry. Well, lo and behold, the same at this point has come to fruition as far as putting air in bottles. Not medical grade oxygen like what you use if you have heart problems, but just air. You just open up a bag, Ziploc bag or a bottle, and you put the cap on, or you can put it under like pressure, and you can sell it. And this was a startup company. It was started as a joke a few years ago, and now this is being sold for $15 to $115 a bottle, particularly in China. And you see the picture there. That's them harvesting the air. And again, it was started as a joke, but now it's catching on. And for the learning activity, you will comment on this, actually. You're going to investigate and answer questions about it. But who knows if this is our future. So many of you have said you've seen the Lorax, and that's what this is about. Bottled air, but here we are. All right, anyway, that is our discussion on air pollution. Sorry for the interruption, and I hope this all finds you well, and everyone take care. Okay, bye.